Like Ranieri, Rosner has become worried about the serious market around the same time as Ranieri's speech. Rosner approaches a financial professor at Drexel University, Joseph Mason, to co-author a paper with him. They delivered in February 2007 on the Hudson Institute. The title "He's a Mindful: How Resilient Are Mortgage Banking Securities to Collateralize the Obligation Market Disruptions." Their conclusions, however, are straightforward. The issue mm, of CDOs, which have mushroomed to more than in $1 million in 2006 in propping up the housing market by buying almost all of the riskier ranges of mortgage banking securities. Investors, real investors, who are not part of the daisy chain, no longer want them. Even investment-grade CDOs will lose money if home prices begin to fall substantially. Rosner and Mason grade. If that happens, it could set of contagions of fear as investors rush to unland their serious positions. A vicious circle would then start that would have terrible ramifications not just for the housing market but for the economy. Rosner and Mason have also pondered some larger questions. If housing is such an important component of USA's social policy and the funding uh, mechanisms for housing has become this shaky pyramid of debt. Does it really make sense to have the housing market at the mercy of his wholly unstable funding? And inasmuch as investors around the world have sunk their money into USA mortgage banking securities, what are the implications if that market starts to crack? Perhaps of greater concern is the reputationally risk exposure to the USA capital markets. They write, Send 5, February 7, 2007, New Century files what's called an 8K, a document that conveys important news that can't wait until the next quarter results. The headline is stark: New Century Financial Corporation to restate financial statements for the quarters ended March 31, Jones 30, and September 20, 2006. Part of the reason for the restatement, the company cites, is to correct errors in the way is accounted for its many repurchase requests. The stock, which had hit its height of $51.22 just a few months earlier, plunged 36% in one day. By March, the company admitted that it is unable to fill initial financial reports. By then, its repurchase claims have risen to staggering $8.4 million. The stock falls to about $1. By April, New Century is bankrupt. Never once during the entire housing bubble did the company report a quarterly loss before filing for bankruptcy. By the end of 2006, anyone could have found his or her own data points to know that the supermarket was in trouble. The clothes were everywhere. The staggering rise in home appreciations, which in some parts of the country had averaged 10 to percent a year was slowing down in places like Arizona, California, Florida, the states where the housing bubble had been most pronounced. Housing prices were already declining. Supreme borrowers with options arms, the ones who were counting on an increase in their home equity to refinance, were suddenly out of luck. With their homes no longer increasing in value, they had no way to refinance for a closer, were nearly double what they had been 3 years earlier. Delinquents up, standard income loans defaults up, and of course those yearly payment defaults, the ones that signaled just how reckless the subprime originators had become were way up. Subprime originators had created the conditions for the perfect storm, said John Taylor, and that OTS Housing Symposium.